Good morning, everyone. Have you ever felt like something in your life just isn't where it should be? Like, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much time and energy you pour into your goals, something always feels just out of reach. We've all been there at some point. Today, I want to share with you a simple yet powerful idea. Change your standards and your life will change. Think about it for a moment. Most of us live our lives striving to meet certain expectations. We want to do well at work, in our relationships, and with our personal growth. But here's the thing, we often aim at the wrong target. We focus on the wrong standards, the ones that others set for us, or the ones that society tells us we should meet. But imagine just for a moment that everything you desire is within your reach. If only you could change the standards you hold for yourself. What if you raised those standards? What would happen if you demanded more from yourself than you currently do? Today, I want to show you how shifting your standards can lead to profound life-changing transformations. Imagine waking up every morning and feeling like you have the potential to achieve greatness, knowing that you have what it takes to change the world in your own way. It all starts with one simple truth: the standards you set for yourself shape the reality you experience. They influence everything from how you see the world to how you interact with others to the way you face challenges. Your standards are the silent forces that guide your decisions, your behavior, and your choices every single day. But here's the most important thing about standards: they're not set in stone. They are not some predetermined blueprint that you have to follow. They are not dictated by your environment, your past, or the expectations of others. You and only you have the power to decide what your standards will be. And because they are self-imposed, that means you also have the power to raise them. This is where real transformation begins. Think about it. You might have two people standing side by side, both facing similar circumstances. One person believes that getting by with a 9-to-5 job, doing the bare minimum, is enough. For them, this is the standard they've set for themselves. Their expectations are low, so their world remains small. They work just enough to get by, they live just enough to feel comfortable. But they never push beyond what is required. As a result, their life becomes a series of small, routine steps. They get by, but they never thrive. Then there's the other person. This individual believes that they are capable of creating something extraordinary. Their standard is higher. They refuse to settle for anything less than their best, and they expect greatness in every area of their life. They look at the same opportunities, but they see them through a different lens, a lens of possibility and potential. This person has raised their expectations. They demand more from themselves. And because they've set a higher bar, their actions align with that belief. They take risks. They fail and get back up again. They surround themselves with people who challenge and elevate them because they expect that level of energy and commitment from those around them. Their life is not just about existing, it's about growing, creating, and contributing. The difference between these two individuals isn't their circumstances, it's their standards. One has chosen to settle for the status quo, while the other has chosen to aim higher, push harder, and rise above the ordinary. When you raise your standards, everything changes. You begin to see opportunities that you once overlooked. You develop the courage to go after what you truly want, even if it means stepping into the unknown. You learn to surround yourself with people who inspire you, not just those who make you feel comfortable. This isn't about living in a state of constant pressure or perfection. It's about living with intention, choosing to show up as the best version of yourself and demanding that your actions reflect your highest potential. When you raise your standards, you are no longer bound by limitations. You are free to achieve things you never thought possible because your reality will always expand to match your expectations. The power is in your hands. If you're not happy with your life, it's not because you lack talent or opportunity. It's because you've been operating within the confines of your current standards. But you can change that today. You can decide that your life is meant for something greater. You can decide that you are worthy of more. All it takes is a shift in your mindset, a decision to raise your standards, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined. When you make the choice to raise your standards, you are not just changing your expectations of what you want to achieve. You are choosing to take full responsibility for your life. It's an acknowledgement that regardless of where you start or the challenges you face, you are the one in control of your journey. The moment you raise your standards, you stop looking outward for reasons or excuses. Instead, you turn inward and you take ownership of your decisions, your actions, and your results. So often we find ourselves making excuses. We point to the economy, our upbringing, or even bad luck as reasons for why we're not where we want to be in life. We tell ourselves that we would be further along if circumstances had been different. And yes, it's true that life isn't always fair. None of us are immune to hardship, setbacks, or the unpredictable nature of life. But here's the truth: we do have control over how we respond to what happens to us. No matter what life throws at us, we still have the power to decide how we show up, how we react, and ultimately how we move forward. Raising your standards is not just about expecting more from yourself. It's about taking full accountability for the path you're on. It's about looking at your current situation, whether it's your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, and saying, I own this. I am the one who determines how far I go. This is a powerful realization because it means you no longer have to wait for the world to change for you. You can change your world by changing yourself. You become the architect of your own life. But this shift in mindset isn't easy. It's a tough road. Taking responsibility for your life requires courage. It requires vulnerability. It requires a deep level of discipline. Because when you raise your standards, you're not just setting goals, you are committing to making choices every single day that align with your new expectations. You are saying goodbye to the comfort of excuses and self-doubt and embracing the discomfort of growth, discipline, and accountability. And think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. She was born into poverty, faced unimaginable obstacles, and endured significant hardships. Her early life could have easily been a blueprint for failure, yet she didn't allow those circumstances to define her future. She refused to settle for what the world told her she could have. She raised her standards and said, I am capable of more. She didn't blame her past or her circumstances for where she was. She took full responsibility for her future. Oprah's success didn't come from external factors aligning perfectly with her dreams. It came from an internal shift of decision to raise her standards and own her life. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, something shifts inside of you. You begin to unlock a level of power you didn't know you had. You stop waiting for permission or for the stars to align. You recognize that you are in the driver's seat of your own journey, and you have the ability to steer it toward the life you want. This isn't just about dreaming bigger or setting more ambitious goals. It's about looking at your reality and saying, I am responsible for how I respond, for the actions I take, and for the outcomes I create. Taking responsibility for your life means knowing that no matter where you've been or where you are, you have the power to choose your path. That's a powerful place to be, and it's where real change begins. There's a powerful connection between the standards we set for ourselves and how we view our own worth. Now, think about it. When we don't believe we deserve better, we naturally lower our expectations. We settle for less, and we create a life that reflects that belief. We tolerate mediocrity, and in doing so, we communicate to ourselves that this is all we're capable of. But what if we believed that we were worthy of more? What if we believed that we were deserving of success, happiness, fulfillment, and love, not just the bare minimum, but the absolute best life has to offer? When you raise your standards, you're not just aiming for higher achievements, you're sending a profound message to yourself. You're saying, I am worthy of greatness. I am worthy of the life I dream about. This shift is more than just about the external results. It's about your internal transformation. It's about recognizing that you deserve to live a life that reflects your highest potential. And when you do this, your entire perspective shifts. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. Jobs could have easily settled for being a successful tech entrepreneur. He could have followed the same path as many others, creating functional products that met the market's basic needs. But that wasn't his standard. He believed he could do more, be more, create more. He set a standard for himself that demanded excellence in every detail, in every product, and in every aspect of his company. His belief that he was capable of changing the world was reflected in the relentless pursuit of perfection that defined Apple's products. Jobs didn't just want to create a successful product. He wanted to make something extraordinary, something that would change how we interact with the world. When Jobs made those bold decisions, he wasn't just thinking about the external impact. He was aligning his personal sense of self-worth with the highest possible standards. He didn't measure his success by what others thought of him, but by the standards he set for himself. And that was the difference. That unyielding belief in his own worth, his belief that he deserved the best, allowed him to create revolutionary products that have impacted millions of lives. This idea is universal. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, your standards directly influence your self-worth. When you raise your standards, you are sending the message that you are worth more than the life you've been living. You're worth more than the comfort of staying where you are. You are capable of more, and you deserve to experience life at a higher level. Your worth is not defined by the opinions of others, by the job you currently hold, or by the past mistakes you've made. It is defined by the standards you set for yourself. If you believe that you deserve the best, you will rise to meet those expectations. If you believe that you are worthy of happiness, success, and fulfillment, you will make the choices that align with those beliefs. The moment you begin to hold yourself to higher standards is the moment you begin to unlock the true potential of who you are. So let me ask you this. What would happen if you started to believe that you deserve the best? What would happen if you raise your standards in every area of your life? You might just find that in doing so, you not only change your reality, but transform your sense of self-worth too. And in that transformation, you unlock the possibility of greatness. Let's talk about the real, tangible benefits of raising your standards. In the short term, it won't be easy. In fact, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll challenge old habits, behaviors, and expectations that have become ingrained over the years. It will be like pushing against the tide, like swimming upstream while everyone else is floating downstream. You will face resistance both from within yourself and from the people around you. People who are content with where they are will not understand why you are striving for more. They will question your choices, challenge your ambitions, and perhaps even try to pull you back to where you were. But here's the thing, discomfort is temporary. The pain of change is temporary. It's the price you pay for growth. The moment you raise your standards, you set yourself on a path to unlock a version of yourself that you've never seen before. That feeling of discomfort, that struggle will pass. And when it does, you'll look back and realize that every step of that journey was worth it. You'll see the strength you've built, the resilience you've developed, and the courage you've summoned to keep pushing forward. In the end, the rewards you reap will be far greater than the temporary discomfort you felt in the process. Take a moment and think about someone like J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon, she was a single mother living on welfare, struggling to make ends meet. She faced rejection after rejection. Her manuscript was turned down by numerous publishers. The world told her that her dream was impossible, that her writing wasn't good enough, that she should lower her expectations and settle for something more practical. But instead of shrinking in the face of failure, she raised her standards. She refused to let her circumstances dictate her future. She believed in her story, in her craft, and in herself, and she didn't give up. We all know what happened next. Her books not only became bestsellers, but have touched millions of lives around the world. Her work became a cultural phenomenon, changing the way people think about storytelling, imagination, and the power of belief. But none of this would have happened if she had lowered her standards and accepted what the world had told her. She had to raise her standards in order to achieve something extraordinary. This is not just about financial success or external recognition. This is about the internal transformation that happens when you start living in alignment with your highest standards. It's about the growth you experience as a person, the fulfillment you find in pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. The real reward isn't always the external trophies you collect along the way, but the sense of pride and accomplishment that comes from knowing you've lived up to your own potential. You begin to feel a deep sense of satisfaction, not because of what others think of you, but because you know that you've done everything you could to become the person you were meant to be. Raising your standards doesn't just change your reality in the short term, it transforms your life in the long run. The person you become on the other side of this journey is someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. And when you unlock that version of yourself, you will be amazed at what you can achieve. The journey will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because when you raise your standards, you raise your life, and in doing so, you unlock the potential to do things you never thought possible. So, how do you begin this process of raising your standards? How do you start the journey of transforming your life? It begins with one simple but crucial step. Be clear about what you want. You can't aim for something greater if you don't know what it looks like. Take the time to get crystal clear on what your higher standard looks like. Ask yourself in each area of your life, whether it's health, career, or relationships, what does it mean to be at your best? They don't just think in vague terms or generalities. Define it in detail. Picture the version of yourself that you want to become and outline the actions, behaviors, and mindset required to reach that level. This is where it all starts, with a vision of your highest potential, but it doesn't stop there. It's not enough just to have a clear vision. You need to surround yourself with the right people. The people you spend time with have an immense impact on the standards you hold for yourself. If you want to raise your standards, seek out those who already hold themselves to a higher standard. Find those who challenge you, who inspire you to do better, to think bigger, and to reach further than you ever thought possible. The people around you will either pull you up or hold you back. And it's up to you to choose whose influence you allow in your life. When you surround yourself with individuals who are committed to growth, who won't settle for mediocrity, their energy and drive will rub off on you. They will push you to rise to your own higher standards. Then, and perhaps most importantly, you need to take immediate action. Raising your standards isn't just about thinking bigger, it's about doing bigger. It's about taking real, tangible steps toward the life you want to create. The moment you raise your standards, you must act in alignment with that shift. Start today, no matter how small the action, even the smallest step toward your higher standards will start building momentum. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. There will never be a perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create by choosing to act now. The small steps you take today will compound into significant progress tomorrow. But here's the truth. The road won't always be easy. There will be setbacks, challenges, and moments where you'll feel like giving up. There will be days when it feels easier to revert to your old ways, to settle for the comfort of what's familiar. But in those moments, it's vital to stay committed. Consistency is the key to long-term success. It's not about making one big leap and then stopping. It's about showing up every single day, even when it's tough, and staying true to the higher standards you've set for yourself. Consistency is what will separate you from those who give up too soon. It's the relentless commitment to your vision and your standards that will drive you toward the results you seek. So how do you raise your standards? It begins with clarity. It requires the right people around you. It demands immediate action and ongoing commitment. By taking these steps, you're not just setting goals, you're creating a new reality for yourself. And that reality is one where you hold yourself to the highest standard, where your actions align with your vision, and where you are constantly growing into the best version of yourself. The life you are living right now is a direct reflection of the standards you've set for yourself. Let that sink in for a moment. Every success, every setback, every opportunity, and every challenge you face today is the result of the expectations you've placed on yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you find yourself dissatisfied with where you are, it's not because you lack the ability. It's because your standards haven't yet aligned with the incredible potential within you. This realization is both empowering and humbling. It means that where you are today is not where you have to stay. It means you can change everything, starting with the standards you set for yourself. So ask yourself, what would it look like if you raised your standards? What would happen if you demanded more of yourself, more of your time, your energy, your focus, and your commitment? The moment you raise your standards, you are choosing to break free from the limitations that have held you back. You are choosing to elevate your life. You are choosing to rise above the comfort of where you've been and step into the discomfort of growth, progress, and transformation. It won't be easy. In fact, it will be uncomfortable at times. But that discomfort is a sign that you are on the right path. It's the sign of real change, the sign that you are stretching beyond what you thought was possible. You have the power to set higher standards. You have the power to demand more of yourself. And in doing so, you will unlock a life that is more fulfilling, more exciting, and more aligned with the person you are capable of becoming. It all starts with the decision to raise your expectations, not just for the world around you, but for yourself. When you set higher standards, you send a message to the universe, to those around you, and most importantly, to yourself: I am capable of more. I am worthy of more. And I will not settle for anything less than the best version of myself. The key to change is within you. It's not about waiting for the perfect circumstances, the right opportunity, or the perfect timing. It's about deciding right now that you are going to raise your standards and take action in alignment with those higher expectations. You have the power to demand more from your life. You have the power to raise your expectations. And as you do, you will begin to see your life change. Because when you change your standards, your life will change. Your reality will shift in ways you can't yet fully comprehend. But it will shift, and it will shift for the better. So take that first step. Start today. Change your standards, and in doing so, change your life. Thank you